You're silly.
I am.
You're silly. You're silly. You're silly. All right. What's up, everybody? If you can't tell, we've got a little extra dose of silly here with us today.
That's me.
We have the blonde in the middle. So we've got pink hair, blonde hair, and brunette. Sorry, not quite redhead.
Yeah.
I was a redhead, though, for many, many years.
So coming through on the screen. Hey, guys, let us know that you can hear us, that you can see us. It's just not popping up on our screen, so
I broke it.
I don't know.
Mhm.
You might have.
The blonde broke it.
It says we're live over here, but on the actual broadcast, it doesn't seem like it's actually popping up. So
I don't know. I've had computer problems all morning.
Oh no.
yeah, what's up with that?
What's happening?
All good. All right.
Oh good.
We
So
just have says
it's just
we
on
can't see
ours.
ourselves, so as long as you guys can see us, that's all that matters.
No, on our screen, we can see the screen within our program, but on the YouTube that I'm trying to look at, it's not showing up. So whatever. Who cares?
Unnecessary.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday. That means it's Boss Up and List Day.
Welcome.
What? And we have a special guest here, Rachel
Hello.
Pintarelli.
That's me. That's me.
That is you.
Hi. Hi everybody.
That is you. So we're going to be talking with Rachel about branding and whatnot. But what is Wednesday? What's Boss Up and List Day? Do tell.
Boss Up and List is our all-day virtual listing party. It is the day that we use to talk about in the Boss Facebook group, which is, the link is down below. If you're not in our Facebook group, you should be. It's the best one, I have to say. So we talk about our virtual goals for the day or for the week, and we kind of make a challenge within our little group and our thread and talk to our coworkers. And it's a place for us to check in and hold ourselves accountable for our goals for the day, for the week. Maybe it's a super listing goal, it's a shopping goal, it's a not shopping goal. It could be any one of those things. And we take a break at 11 o'clock Pacific time to talk about our business related stuffs. And today is that day. So we have two sponsors now actually for this show that we need to mention. And we never mention our sponsors.
Wait, check this out.
So
What? There's our sponsors.
oh my gosh, where are they?
You look really confused
Oh,
right
look
there.
at that. Oh, look at
you're like, I don't know what's happening.
That's so fancy.
So we have two sponsors that we like to talk about on our show. One of them is Sizely. If you have not checked out Sizely, again, there's a link below. Sizely is a listing tool that helps those of us that list clothing. It takes the guesswork out of measurements for you and also for your buyers. It's going to help cut down on returns and things like that. It's very inexpensive. As far as subscriptions go, there are some very pricey subscriptions out there in the market, but this is a very inexpensive tool to help your listings look a little bit more professional and for both you and for your buyers. Yeah. And list perfectly. You've seen us talk about this, and we've had the girls on the show. So T-Money, aka Teresa, Clara, and Amanda are working on this program diligently to onboard all the new subscribers and making sure that the server can handle all of the business that has been being thrown their way, because this is seriously the best program that has ever been invented for resellers that want to cross-post on multiple platforms. Yeah. So I love it. I'm using it. I'm excited to be using it. And you should use it too. If you haven't seen the information about it, go look back at one of our shows that we did a couple weeks ago on Wednesday with Amanda and Clara, and it tells you a little bit about the show. Yeah.
So real quick, it looks like from looking in the chat, I was able to bring up our show on the YouTube app on my phone, and I see other people are having to do the same thing. I don't know if it's like a Chrome thing. It might be like the Chrome browser, or if it's a YouTube issue, but it looks like the show's not coming up on. So hopefully, I mean, obviously, if you can't see the show, you don't know I'm saying this, but I see people are putting in the chat, go to the phone. Or maybe try a different browser if you're using Chrome, if that's the issue. But
maybe that was my issue today. I've been trying to do some list perfectly listings this morning and having some issues, and it might be my Chrome browser.
Yeah, you might want to try a different browser.
I broke Chrome.
Browser.
I broke Chrome.
You did. You have to use Amazon list perfectly, so I can't use another browser.
Yeah. So also I want to say at the top of the show, the 2019 fall seller update just came out today. It just dropped from eBay. I actually put the link down below. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go and read all of the updates. There's some good, there's some not so good, there's some just confusing. So you want to make sure that you read everything. They're making some changes to promoted listings that I'm a little iffy on. But I do like some of the stuff they're doing with offers to buyers. Now you're going to be, I don't think it's in effect yet, but you're going to be able to negotiate, because right now when you do an offer to a buyer, they can only like accept it or decline it. They can't negotiate. So that's changing. And something that I think is really cool is you're going to be able to send offers to people who have your stuff in their carts, which I've been
I like
about.
that a lot. It's like sending offers to likers or whatever, but not everybody likes the item. They just put it in their cart, and I like that. I think it's just more ways to get yourself in front of the customer. Yeah,
for sure. So if you guys get a chance, make sure that you read through that update, read everything. And then today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, they are going to be doing a live show over on the eBay for Business Facebook page. So if you have questions about it, or you think some of it's a little confusing like we do, hopefully they will be talking about all the aspects of it and clearing up anything, and you'll be able to ask questions. So you just want to make sure if you're selling on eBay that you know what's going on there. Anyway, let's get into the show. Who is our guest? Who the heck is this lady?
It's me.
This is Rachel.
Hello.
Who's Rachel?
Am I?
No, I'm asking Vicky. Vicky, introduce your friend.
Sorry.
So am I, Vicky?
Rachel has actually made it to our Friday After Dark show before with her husband. They wore pink wigs one time.
Oh, that's right.
Back in December, I think it was. But anyway, Rachel is one of my best friends. She is here from, she's recently moved to Las Vegas from Rhode Island. So
we shipped her in.
Yeah, I'm importing friends now.
Perfect.
It works better that way. And it just so happens that she is a heck of a marketing consultant, and she is really, really good at writing and creating creative content and helping people with their business. And I thought that she would tie in really well with us, with our audience, with our show, with this specific show, because I think something that resellers in general have a problem with is trying to create their own brand and their own voice within a really diverse marketplace or several marketplaces. And I think that branding and creating a unique voice or vision for yourself is important if you want to stand out. If you want to stand out, especially if you have a certain niche or you're trying to make yourself seen or heard in a certain niche. So I think that Rachel has a lot to offer for that. So,
well, Rachel, why don't you tell us, what is your background in marketing? Like what have you done? What have you been doing with your life? Who are you? What have you done with yourself?
It's such an existential question. I actually have somewhere between 15 and 20 years worth of marketing and communications experience. So I've been doing this a while. I've worked for the nonprofit and for-profit sectors for organizations and corporations. I've worked all over. I think my real on-the-ground understanding of how important it was to learn how to brand yourself and have recognition and visibility was when I worked in New York City. And even though I was working for corporations, I worked for an investment bank in their marketing department. I was also there for my acting and my writing and my producing. And so you learn, as you're sort of a one-man band or one-woman band, you have to learn how to promote yourself. You have to learn how to build yourself as a brand. And I really credit that as my real grassroots understanding of how important it is to understand yourself and what you bring and what you're selling, whether it's a small business, one particular product, several types of products, whether it's yourself as an entertainer. Branding is just super, super important when it comes to recognition, building trust, even evoking emotion. It's just, it's something that I think a lot of people think of as it's sort of like a pie in the sky big thing that, big corporations do. And it's not just for the big guys. It's for the small business owner too. It's important.
Okay. What were you doing just before? What was your job before you moved to?
I was before we made the move to Vegas. Yay. I was the director of marketing and communications for Girl Scouts of Southeastern New England back in Rhode Island. And I was there for almost 4 years. So that was a big deal. Did a lot of, learned a lot there, really strong design work, a ton of copywriting.
Mhm.
You know, but prior to that, I also did a lot of marketing work for the YMCA. I did marketing for a small pneumatic press company, in addition to running their office. It just goes back and back and back. But I worked for like Chase Manhattan Bank, Credit Suisse when I worked in New York. So it's a full gamut of experience. And now,
And now?
we are here. And I have decided to build my own business, my own freelance business, and help others discover the brand within themselves.
Awesome.
To help them learn how they can lift their own visibility and, you ready, boss up their business with their brand.
So you work primarily with like small businesses and helping them kind of launch a brand and a voice. But you also have some connections with eBay.
I do have connections with eBay. So, and I'll try not to go on and on, because I could go on and on about eBay, as Vicky knows.
Okay, we're back. Let's hold on a second, guys.
Connecticut girl, don't put your pants back on.
No, take your pants off. Get them off. Anyway,
like, that's it. I'm putting my pants back on.
All right, sorry guys. Okay, so I want you to go back, talk about not to make you have to go back over all of that again, but tell us again about your mom and eBay, because I think we missed most of that.
Okay, so my connection to eBay, aside from all the branding, marketing, blah, blah, blue, blue, I also have a really strong connection to eBay. I'm actually an eBay member since the year 2000, which is crazy, long time ago. And I'm a member of the Boss Up group. And earlier this year, when my husband and I were getting ready to sell his grandparents' house, which we were living in, that he had purchased from them years ago, we were finding all sorts of old vintage pocket knives and antiques and toys.
Mhm.
And I started selling again on eBay. So recently I've been on the eBay.
Mhm.
And then, but my introduction to eBay actually came from my mom, who's no longer with us. And she actually fell in love with eBay, and she would sell vintage jewelry.
She was like old school eBay.
Old school
Like
eBay.
back on the old message
Back when I
boards.
used to sell
Like,
on, it started on
oh,
eBay.
like back in the day.
When you wrote a story about everything you were selling.
She would write these really long, beautiful stories about every single charm on the charm bracelet. And she would pick like the fancy template. And the really beautiful thing about eBay that I had a behind the scenes view of is that when she passed away and I inherited most of her eBay stock and collection, she built such a rapport and relationship with her customers. Her name was Miss Apple Annie on eBay. She had thank you cards that she saved from people that they
That's
would
awesome.
send her. Or if she purchased from them, they would send her, and she would have these correspondences. And I was able to go into the messages and see these correspondences. So my connection to eBay is actually very, very strong. So when Katie and Vicki came to me and said, you know, would you want to put together a reseller package to sort of work with the eBay community and the resellers and find a way to help them strengthen
Mhm.
their brand? It has more than just a, you know, a marketing feel for me. It's a real connection.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I love that story.
Yeah,
And
me
it's
too.
funny because I've always known this about Rachel. So we've been friends now for probably about 8 years or so, but much closer for the last six or so, 6.5 years. And yeah, somebody asked in the chat, is this the friend that is building a home right near us? Yes, she actually closes on her house next week.
Yay! No more RV living.
She's been living in her RV for her and her husband have been living, and their 2 cats have been living in an RV resort for the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Yes.
They sold their house back in Rhode Island and packed all of their worldly possessions that they didn't sell on eBay in a pod and moved it here and put that in storage until the house was completed. So the house is new construction, and I'm super excited, except she's moving a lot farther away now. She's going to be like a whole 20 minutes away. As
Oh,
opposed to
no.
Yeah, so far. So check this
5.
out.
Oh,
Susan
no.
Sanders says, I know Apple Annie. God bless her. She was fantastic.
Really?
That's awesome.
All right, Susan, you're going to make her cry. Don't make her cry, Susan.
I got to do this, right? Isn't this what you do?
Yes.
Try not to
Yeah,
cry.
Yeah.
Don't make her cry. She will
Okay,
cry.
so okay, for those of our viewers that are watching, maybe they're just starting out in business. This is the first time they've kind of done this on their own and not had like a regular job, or maybe they have regular jobs too. What is branding? What does that even mean?
So branding is a way for people to recognize you, to give you and your business visibility. Okay. It's not just a logo. It's not just, oh, I have a logo, so now I have a brand. It really is this all cohesive, streamlined presentation of who you are and who your business is and how you represent yourself. And like I was saying earlier, it isn't just for big corporations. It isn't just like Nike and Apple, you know, it is really a way for people to connect with you and who you are. And especially Vicki's been really helpful for me in letting me understand how the reseller world can work, that sometimes it isn't necessarily, you just have like a niche market, that sometimes you're selling a lot of different things. So it really becomes especially important that you become identifiable, and you do that through branding. You do that through having a logo, and then on your multiple platforms, if you have an Etsy shop and an eBay shop, that you have your banners are all cohesive with like the same look and feel. It builds trust in your customers. You come to you're top of mind. It's just sort of just builds this whole vibe and this whole energy, and it's just so much more than just a logo. It really really is. It's that professional piece, you know, at the very very top. And it's possible for everybody. It's not just, you know, just reserved for certain people
or
you know?
just big sellers
Yeah.
or just niche sellers. Like, I think that's something that a lot of people have a misconception about eBay in general. If you're an eBay seller, you know that you're battling that, oh, you're just selling used crap online. right? So that's what people tend to think about eBay.
That's terrible.
So it is terrible.
That's terrible.
So part of what is important in trying to take yourself seriously is own your own self, but also have other people take your business seriously as a business, is to present yourself as a business. And I think branding and marketing has a lot to do with presenting yourself as a business. And it's not necessarily just the individual items that you're selling. It's that they look to you, to your shop, to your online presence. Maybe they'll see it repeated across a few different platforms, and they know that you have a presence as a business. And it's something as simple as not just the logo, but like putting your brand across several platforms.
Right.
I did that a few years ago when I rebranded as LV Pink Panther, and it was very well. You know, at this point, as we all know, I am changing my branding, so I haven't even found a new logo yet. So I'm kind of in that flux. And it's something that Katie and I need to do better for our channel in general. Like, we have Katie and Vicky as a YouTube channel. We have no logo. We have no nothing. We have no online presence for this, other than we don't even have an Instagram page that's just Katie and Vicky. We probably should.
Another one. You'll be in charge of that.
But yeah, we know that we like have slacked at it. You get busy, you get stuck in a rut, and you're like, oh, how do I have time to do something else? And this is where somebody like Rachel comes into play, because she can help you in a short period of time, you know, set that up and help create the content and teach you how easy it is to maintain that content and create a presence.
And that's where the years of experience come in handy, because I know the questions to ask. I've been through it long enough with a number of people, and worked for a number of companies to know what are the exact questions I need to ask to get the right answers from you to build what needs to be built. And that's really the key piece. It's also so difficult when you're trying to do it for yourself. I mean, I know when I was building my brand for this freelance business, I didn't get it right the first time. And I'll be completely transparent about that, because I was internalizing it way, way, way too much. And I wasn't thinking about my customer. And part of branding and your appeal to other people is you have to think outside yourself. You have to think about the customer. Yeah. And so, and since I rebranded, it's worked really well. And so, but yeah, it's just having that elevated thought that, hey, you deserve to lift your visibility. You're not just, as horrible as that sounded, you are not just selling crap. You're building a business, and you deserve to have that kind of presence,
Yeah, the Gypsy Jean says, I have the name and backstory, but now I'm stuck.
Yeah, so you're at the point where you need to do something like this, or you should do something like this. And I see people saying there, I don't have any repeat customers. I sell one-offs. You know what? So do I. Everything I sell is a one-off individual item. I'm starting my business from scratch every day. I do not sell in a certain niche. And I do still have repeat customers. I don't necessarily have someone that buys 3 or 4 items at once out of my store, but I do have repeat customers that come back again and again, because I have such a wide variety of things. And they've come to realize that looking through my store, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I do have repeat customers. I don't always recognize them because I have so many that I don't always recognize the names, but I'll go back and look, and sometimes I can tell that it's a repeat customer, or the name will stand out.
Well, because I do a niche, I do have a number of repeat customers. And when you sell on Etsy, they actually like alert you to when somebody's a repeat customer, and then you can go back and see their history of orders. So it's actually pretty cool. So it's like I was showing that review that Vicky was mocking me over and not being supportive, but I got a really cool review on Etsy, and the guy was like, this is my favorite shop. And I was like, that's really cool that somebody thinks like my store is their favorite place to go and shop. And he comes every once in a while and buys like multiple items from me.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. So Bridget says, maybe that's because of our YouTube presence or my YouTube presence. I will say, I have actually sold to 2 YouTube viewers and that are in the chat ever. They're not both in the chat, but 2 YouTube viewers that watch our show ever. People seem to think that YouTube creates additional sales revenue, and it does not. I will tell you, we do get ad revenue from doing this show, but it is very small. We still have a very small following. first of all. So YouTube has not added any bottom line to my income. It has
Not even
added any
significant.
sales, nothing significant. So that's actually incorrect.
Yeah.
For us anyway. I know that is not the case for other channels that necessarily, a lot of jewelry YouTube sellers do very well because they're selling to other jewelry collectors, and they're you know, that's a niche. Because of what we do on YouTube has absolutely nothing to do with what we sell specifically. That is not the case.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the thing is, you know, we've been doing this channel now for about 1.5 years, and we were already full-time sellers prior to that. You for many years, myself for a couple of years before that. And so, you know, and here's the thing, like, you don't want to get too stuck on, you know, when you're looking at how other people are doing, when you think about things like, we get people saying like, oh, well, it's probably because of your YouTube channel. Part of what that does is it kind of eliminates the need for you to look at how maybe you could be doing things differently to improve your own brand, your own store. Of all the low down, good for nothing, frickin' frackin' scribbity rapping. Yeah, it'll take a second and then it'll pop up over there. But anyway, because it's on a little bit of a delay.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be a good idea to go on the show.
I know.
Thanks a lot. What did you do?
I broke it.
What did you do?
I broke it.
Anyway, guys.
I don't know why we're having such a poor connection today. I'm really sorry. It's nothing that we're doing or not doing. It's
sorry, guys.
I don't know if it's the internet or what, but
yeah, we're just having a hard time. So let's get into the meat of what we want to talk about today, which is going to be the meat and taters. So basically, you know, Rachel just moved here. She's building her business. And so we were like, why don't you put together a kind of a targeted reseller package to help? Because we're like, we know lots of resellers who want to kind of take that next step or want to like up their game, you know, come up with a logo and a look and a brand across the different social media platforms as well as the selling platforms. And they probably don't know which way to turn. And they think it's something that would be way too expensive for them to even consider. And so you kind of came up with a little something.
I came up with a little something.
Yeah.
I whipped up a little something.
Should we just go ahead? Do you want to just
let's
go ahead and show
it out.
And then you can talk about what exactly it is.
Sure.
All right, let's see. Okay, we're sharing. We're sharing.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, there will be links to everything down below this broadcast. So feel free to look at these things at your own leisure.
All right.
So this is like a package. What is it?
So this is the Rockin reseller branding package. So this is really your first step, your launch pad, if you will, to really get your branding fired up and going. So what I'm offering in the package is your shop banners. And I kind of crafted this based on my conversations with Katie and Vicky over dinner one night so that I could have a really good, solid understanding of what would be useful to everybody that's in this community. So shop banners. So Etsy store, eBay store, if you have a Facebook presence, having a customized banner that represents your shop and your logo and your branding. And you might say, I don't have a logo, Rachel. Why? How would you make me a banner? How would you create that? Well, included in this package, ta-da, logo creation. So I can create something simple and snazzy, completely professional. Nothing I do is just clip art. It's a layered logo that is customized based on a consultation you'll have with me. And it includes 2 revisions to the logo. So that is something that is really customized to you. There'll be nobody else that has the same thing you have, only in a different color. It really is it will be unique to you. And then also included, so those shop banners will then be a variation on your logo. So the logo will come first, shop banners next. And then there's also a biography piece to this, because my understanding and from my own experience on the eBay and Etsy stores, because I do have my own, they're not active right now, but I do have them, is you also want content there to tell a little bit about yourself, your shop. And so I will help you craft that language so that you have that on those pages as well. And then I also added in this little social media setup support piece. And that is to help you either set up a Facebook business page or an Instagram business account setup. And I will actually help walk you through that and then get your logo image uploaded, your content, meaning the biography, the information uploaded to that. And then I'll also include a handy dandy, pretty snazzy, really rockin', I'm very excited about it, Rock Your Brand custom social media guide for you to be able to refer back to and have some baseline of understanding how to use your social media.
That's awesome.
So how often you should post, what type of content you should post.
Yep.
All that type of stuff, which is kind of what I think a lot of people struggle with, myself included. I mean, I'm not as consistent as I should be, on Instagram. And like I said, we don't even have a presence together as part of our branding, so to speak. And we should. So this is something that I even need help with. And I always ask Rachel advice on certain things too. Like right now I'm trying to recreate a logo. I need to rebrand with a new logo. And so I'm going to be looking into that. Mine, I'm looking for a specific designer to do mine. So it's nothing against Rachel. She actually came up with the idea. There's this one designer that I absolutely love, who is an artist, that I want to create a custom piece for me. So I'm on a waiting list, and hopefully I can get to her. So she's an entirely different type of artist.
Right. My logo creation is a very specific kind of logo creation. It's really meant for people that need something slick and smooth and professional, but aren't looking to spend, $1,000 on a logo.
Yeah. And I will tell you, that is what I spent. I will tell you, 4 years ago when I branded as Pink Panther, I spent $1,500 on a logo, a website landing, and what she's talking about right here, a variation of a logo, banner, and different sizes and formats, and owning the vector image, which is your main image. So all of that stuff for me cost $1,500.
Right.
And I hand drew what I wanted. So, and it was done by an artist, a graphic artist, and he did an excellent job. I'm not going to say that he didn't. I loved my stuff. But I paid $1,500 for it to be done well and to be done professionally. What she's offering here is a really, really good price. I mean, I've seen other people offer similar prices to do things, and it's clip art.
Yeah, and that's not what you're going to get.
And it doesn't include all the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So Cynthia Bowman says, my language would need crafting. So
what I do.
let's talk a little bit about the process.
Sure.
So somebody comes to you and says, I want to purchase this package.
Yep.
What happens? Where do you go from there?
So part of it's the copywriting and the copy editing is what the technical language is for that. So what happens is I create a custom questionnaire based on what client I'm working with, like what field they're in. So for the resellers, I've created a custom questionnaire that I will send to the customer, my client, and you will answer these questions. And based on those questions, I will then craft a biography about you and your shop. And then I will send it back to you. You can go through it. We'll have a session together and revise it together. Anything that you think needs changing or tweaking, and then you will have the final piece. This isn't that you need to send me, 3 paragraphs and I'm only going to, change 5 sentences. I'm literally creating this content for you to take the pressure off of you. I mean, look, the reason I love working with small business owners is because you are busy being a business owner.
Right.
You're not supposed to be spending your time figuring out how to write about what you do. I'm supposed to be writing about what you do because that's what I love doing. And you shouldn't be having to create your logo because that's what I like doing. So let me do it so you can be busy doing the things you need to do, to be prosperous and feel successful. So that process is based on a questionnaire, and that's just my experience so far with all my clients. It just works best. They just answer questions. You can be as lengthy or as short as you need to be, and I will create something from it.
Very cool. Yeah, Lori Rickson says that she loves this topic.
Oh, yeah.
It's something she's wanted to do forever. So she says thank you to us and to you, Rachel.
Oh, you're welcome.
So that's cool. Yeah, I think this is one of those things that I think a lot of, probably any business owners, but a lot of people within our community are always like wanting to do. But it's like, it's like you don't really know like how do you
start.
Right.
Yeah, and like where do you find somebody?
And how do you know that it's somebody good? And then people are like, oh, I'll just go to Fiverr because it's cheap. And then, but you're getting, there's no proprietary ownership of that logo that may or may not be created. It's usually clip art. You're not finding an actual, and then that's just a logo. And you need to have, branding is, as you said earlier, branding is not just a logo. You need more than that. Right. So,
and if you are curious about how other customers or clients have worked with me, if you go on my website at the top, there's a testimonials page, and you can see all sorts of feedback that I've gotten.
Shared screen.
Well, I was going to show. You have here a sample.
Oh, my samples.
Let's look at this as a sample of an eBay shop banner with a logo,
which is my own.
So it says Film Star and Company. So it has a very specific look to it. And then this would be the bio. It's kind of small, but if you guys are on your own computer and look at it, this is eBay. eBay. So this is kind of like the example of what it would look like on eBay. And then for an Etsy shop, this is kind of what it would look like on Etsy.
Right. It's my little.
And so you've got your little thumbnail logo, and this would probably be the same one that you would use like on Instagram.
Yep.
And then you've got it in a banner form.
Right. And these all need to be altered because as we all know, or I know, banners on different platforms have different sizes, different pixel sizes. So every banner that's created, those 3 that you choose, the layouts are all, if you go between the eBay and the Etsy, you'll see that it's not exactly the same banner. I had to customize it in a different way so that it laid out to fit the pixel size and length. So
yeah, for sure.
So Cynthia has a question there and says, what is the actual importance of branding for a really small online seller? And I'll answer that a little bit. And I'll say, here's the thing. You always need to have a little bit of an edge above the next person. Right now, online selling is a very competitive field to be in. And in order to elevate your presence, you need to be doing things like marketing yourself through social media. And that's what's going to draw Google, and SEO is what is going to work by marketing yourself to draw viewers and more eyes to your products and to your store. And if you want to take part in doing that type of thing, more than just throwing your listing up and leaving it there in a store, you need to draw eyes onto your product and into your store. And the way to do that is through social media marketing in some way. And to social media market yourself, you need to have some type of branding or presence. You can't just kind of throw up your listings. Like I see a lot of people on Twitter or on Instagram, they create their listing on eBay and then they do something like they hit share to social media and it's got that generic share that comes up on Twitter of their one item. That's shit. Don't do that. You're flooding Instagram, you're flooding Twitter. It is not does not work. It is not relevant, and people ignore you and stop following you, especially the people that tend to share 30, 40 items a day. Doing it and sharing several strategic items scattered throughout the day and with specific taglines and hashtags and things like that is absolutely the right way to do it. But just throwing stuff up because you're hitting share my listing at the end of your listing on eBay is not how you market yourself on social media. So if you have an interest in elevating your business and in putting yourself out there to get more people and more eyes on your products, then this is something that would be a natural next step.
Well, and you know, like when even if all you have is an eBay store, when I won the Shine Award in 2017, one of my prizes in my package was they set, you know, each of the winners up with a whole logo branding redesign for our stores on eBay. So this is mine right here. And I mean, I think it looks awesome. It gives my store like a really cool, slick look.
Absolutely.
And because I do have a niche of like men's, streetwear and vintage streetwear, it has a certain look to it, and using a color scheme, it's kind of retro. And I think it does elevate my store. I think I probably could use some help with my, I need to build out my bio a little bit better.
That's a little
It's
rough.
a little slim. It's a little slim. But it has a look to it that's pretty nice. Now, somebody else had another question. Let me go back over here.
We've got some good questions from One Witch Lady, actually.
What?
So One Witch Lady questions, which she always asks, Canadians? I think what she's trying to say
like Canadians.
is are you willing to work with Canadians?
Yeah,
You don't hate Canadians?
I actually have clients that are in Sweden and Australia.
Awesome.
So I don't see why
those
Canada,
darn Canucks.
I don't think Canada
Forget
would be an issue. I'd be happy to work with a Canadian.
The next question, which is very relevant to your package as well there.
Question 2.
Transferable to business cards?
Yes.
Question mark. Absolutely. In the package, you're going to receive 2 size offerings of your logo. And that's more so, I guess, based on where you're going to use it in case one layout works better than another layout. But the final file version you're going to receive, it's going to be a high-res image. So you'll be able to use it on in multiple ways. So you can use it on business cards. I know the eBay Open, I saw in the Box Up group all the talk about the pins and the stickers and the final file you'll receive, the high-res version, you'll be able to use that logo on anything you want to replicate it on.
And now it's actually in the fine print down here. If somebody doesn't necessarily need a social media package, they can actually upgrade this package. I think you said it's $55 more.
Yep.
And you would actually create business cards for them using all the branding that you're working on. Or if you want the entire package, and maybe you want business cards too, that would be something that have to discuss with you.
Just reach out to me
and you would talk about it. But business cards can be added to that.
And you are going to own your images. So if you have the knowledge to create your own business card at some point later on the line, you'll have the image as part of your ability to do that, or you can have Rachel help you create a more professional looking business card.
Yeah, I mean, whatever I create for you, you walk away with those files. Those are your files. They are the only thing I usually ask in the contract is that I'm allowed to share them in my portfolio. But other than that, you own the rights to whatever I create for you. So that's how that.
Sure.
I can't see how anyone wouldn't want you to share it in their portfolio, because your portfolio. That's like free advertising on your website.
Okay, so we've talked about like creating the branding, logos, all that, the bio and everything. Can you talk about giving a posting guide. Can you talk a little bit about like maybe give us some tips on how to successfully run a social media platform? Like let's go with Instagram, because Instagram's kind of probably the most popular one right now.
Right.
That probably if you're gonna jump on board one, Instagram over Twitter is probably the way to go.
And Instagram is how I don't really market my items. I don't sell on Instagram, but I teach on Instagram. I use Instagram as a teaching tool.
Yeah.
You're really good with it that way. I have to give you kudos.
Well, thank you. A lot of people do what I do. I'm not doing anything different, but I that's what I try to use it for, is like bonus and teaching people.
But what are some like general tips that make for a successful Instagram account?
Well, I feel like especially for resellers, because it's a visual platform, right? So it's photo based. So right there, it's a great platform for you to be displaying what it is you are selling. But to be successful, and I'm going to say this for any social media platform, Katie and I were just talking about this before we went on the air, consistency. Make sure you are posting on Instagram every single day, every day, at least once a day, to keep it active.
I'm terrible at that.
To keep it active in people's news feeds, because the algorithms for things like Facebook and Instagram, especially right now, I'm not a social media whiz at all, but I keep up on the trends of what happens with the algorithms right now. And consistency is a huge thing, and engagement has been the biggest thing I've learned. If somebody comments, monitor your Instagram account. If somebody comments on something you've posted on your Instagram account, reply. Not just like a little like, actually reply back to them, even if it's a thank you. So consistency and engagement, if you're on Instagram, that is a huge, huge piece of it. And also the hashtags are a big pull. I would assume that if you're a reseller and you have an account on Instagram, your account is public. It's not private.
Mine was private for
I had to like, I had to be, I was like, you need to switch that over.
Because if you're private and you have hashtags, it doesn't mean anything. It won't pull it. So make sure if you're going to use understanding key hashtags, being consistent, and engagement. So that means really monitoring your account and making sure you're really utilizing it.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of these are like the same things that, what we talk about. If you want to be successful on eBay, you need to be listing every day, or if at all possible, it's that you need that constant activity. And it's the same thing when it comes to social media. And I've got it down as far as like listing goes, but when it comes to the social media part of it, I have a really hard time with that. And I need to like buckle down and force myself to do it, especially when it comes to like Instagram I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have the one that's under my name, that is basically just for the reseller community, and I'm pretty inconsistent there. But I also have one that's for my store, a boutique for him, and that one has so much potential, particularly when it comes because of what I sell. Because I sell, streetwear and vintage streetwear, and that's really, really hot right now. And the people that are buying it are on Instagram. I am failing miserably by not keeping on top of that. Like, I've probably lost a lot of money and a lot of potential sales because I don't consistently use that. And I need to, that's
my
something I need to
Instagram
change.
account is just for other resellers. Like, I've never tried to sell anything on there. And maybe I should at some point. I need to be more consistent just to engage more with other resellers. I have about almost 3,000 followers, which is pretty good.
But the purpose of that is, I see you're not necessarily selling stuff with your Instagram, but
I use it to teach.
Part of.
I use it to be part of the community.
It ties into like our YouTube channel and stuff like that. So
I also use it to learn. I do follow a lot of other resellers. Like, I generally follow back almost everyone that follows me. And if I haven't, let me know and I'll follow you back. But I learn from other resellers, especially if you're posting relevant content. I'm learning from what you're sharing in the same way as you may be learning from what I'm sharing. This is how I learn about new brands. I follow a ton of Poshers, right? Because let's face it, a lot of the people that are on Posh are younger girls, and I'm an old hag, right? So I need the stuff from the young girls. I need the knowledge that I have gleaned from their Instagram accounts about new brands and the brands that are hot right now on Posh, because they're not brands that I would normally know or pick up. I'm not a mall shopper, right? So even though I have a lot of knowledge about fashion, and especially about vintage items and hard goods and things like that, the newer fashion and the newer fashion trends, I learn from Instagram. I learned from following a lot of other people that know a different, portion of the reseller, world that I don't know. So I learned a lot on Instagram. I think Instagram, and I didn't like Instagram for the longest time. I was a real holdout. And in the last year or so, I've really learned a lot.
I do want to give a shout out to one particular eBay seller. That I always stalk. House of Rocks. ROXX Dana. She is a fantastic example of somebody that, due credit, innately understands how to integrate her personality with her brand. I will periodically just pop over to look at her store just to see what she has, even though I don't generally buy a lot on eBay usually, because I just love the personality and the brand and the voice of who she is.
She's really good at marketing.
She is. It makes me
her
want to go see what she's selling. And one of the things I've seen her do on Instagram, and I don't follow a lot of resellers on Instagram, so this may be something very common that I don't know about. She does teasers on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing.
Which I've never seen before, or maybe
I don't do it, but
maybe it's
she
just
does it well.
It's just something worth, I think, lifting up if we're talking about Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved the idea of it, and so if it's something that's really common, then I apologize for bringing up something that's really common.
No, not everybody does it.
Not
everybody does it, but it's a really good. It's a good
Yeah.
thing to use. Like if you know, this is where I've learned a lot about tags and brands and certain brands from the younger kids. Like I've said, the Poshmarkers, what they do is they lay out the clothes so you can only see the tags, and there'll be like 10 pieces of clothing and you see the tags and like coming soon, or this is what I picked up, or whatever.
Right.
And that's how I've learned a lot of brands that I would not have recognized before. So that's something that she does, but she has
a very strong brand and a strong voice.
So I just wanted to give her a shout out because I just think the way she's working it just deserves a shout out.
For sure. Well, and the same thing can be said for Allison, Big Drift Thrift. You know, we always talk about her in her Instagram, and she was.
We had them do an Instagram war, actually.
Yeah. But she was just saying in the chat, you know, she said being active on Instagram every day is super important. And so I think she has a couple of Instagram accounts, but the main one that the one I follow is the one that's geared towards other resellers. And she's so consistent with putting up, you know, stuff that she picks up, stuff that she sells every single day. And if you're another reseller, like, you're going to learn a lot from her. And that's why, like,
I've learned a ton from Allison.
That's why she completely like hosed us and passed us up with followers, because that's what happens is when you're putting out consistent, good content that people want to see.
What do you have? 10,000 followers now, Allison? I don't
she's got a lot. Well, last time I looked, it was like over 7. So I'm sure now it's probably getting closer to 10. But it just shows, like, you know, being consistent, having good content, like quality content consistently, will really help you to grow.
Yep, absolutely.
But anyway, are there any other things that you want to make sure that we cover today?
No, I mean, I feel like we've said what needs to be said.
Yeah. So
guys, the price for the entire package, if you can't see it on the shared screen, the price for the entire package is $395.
But what's this up here?
Ha-ha!
For our followers or our watchers of this show today, because how else are you going to find her?
Well, it's the first 5. The first 5 people to sign up, guys.
Right.
The first 5 people to close the deal.
Right. Sign the contract.
Well, yeah. So, you're going to get $50 off. So basically, for $345,
right,
you can do a complete branding, rebranding of your business.
Yes.
Your social media platforms. Right. So I think that's a pretty sweet deal. If you have been wanting to do this,
I paid 5 times that without the Instagram and marketing support.
But I have put a link, the link to that page down below. So go ahead and go down below, and you can click on it, and then you can look at the rest of Rachel's site. Look at her portfolio. You can see some of her other work and see how you feel about maybe working with her. And then I also put down below the link to Rachel's Instagram.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't, if you're not in a position to sign up for this right now and get this done right now, you should be following her on Instagram, because actually I have it right here. Because she's always giving out little tidbits, little things that you should be doing. Here she's got online marketing tips.
And that little picture right there in the middle is a little hint at what the social media guide will look like.
Oh, it's like a video? What's up with that?
Yes,
Whoa!
Boomerangs. And honestly, also, I would encourage you to sign up for my email list, because it truly is a VIP email list. I share resources with my email folks that I do not share with anybody else.
Yeah, so this isn't like, reseller specific, but it doesn't matter, because it's all about branding. It's all about things you need to do to kind of like step up your game.
Yep.
So I would encourage all of you guys to.
And sometimes a picture of my cats.
That's
Once
true.
in a while. The cats. Sometimes you get cats.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so we got a few minutes, guys. Allison says she has almost 8,000 followers, and she says, "Suck it."
Yep.
Yeah, she's got like
Sure.
3 times.
Lady Luck Junk. Danica asked, "What is Dana's IG?" It is House of Rocks. HAUSOFROXX. House of Rocks. Dana's my assistant and an awesome reseller, and our friend, obviously. You've heard us mention her before. She is one of the admins and wrenches in the chat when she's in the chat, but she is Miss Social Butterfly this week. So yeah, she's not in the chat today.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so we got a couple minutes left. If anybody has any last minute questions, we would love to answer them. Otherwise, you can reach out to Rachel if you do want to take advantage of that package, or just go check out our website, go check her out on Instagram.
Or if you have any questions at all, like if you're like, I'm not sure I need the whole package, or if you just have any questions, I'm very easy peasy to work with. So just reach out and ask away.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, what do you guys have going on for the rest of the day?
I'm gonna go try to list. I'm at like listathon today. I have a ton of things to list. So I had a friend of mine, since Dana is on vacation this week. I had a friend of mine come over yesterday and take some photos for me of hard goods, because I just had so much stuff I needed to get done. And she's looking for a job, and she's like, "I'll come do it." So I was like, "Okay, Dana can't this week. You can." So she did a great job. So I was surprised, because I didn't think she'd be as fast, because she was new and had never taken photos, but she was real fast and got through all of my hard goods. So I'm super psyched about that. So I'm just basically listing for the rest of the week. Just list.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm listing. I am creating all of my listings on List Perfectly, all of my new listings, and I'm cross-posting to Etsy and Mercari where applicable, and eBay, Etsy, and Mercari where applicable. So everything goes to eBay. Hard goods go to Mercari, vintage stuff goes to Etsy. So I'm doing it all at once, and start to finish, it's about 4 to 5 minutes per listing.
Yeah.
To get it on 3 platforms. I'm kind of psyched about that.
Wow.
It's really good. It's been a little bit rough the last couple of days. Their website they're having some issues trying to keep up with the speed of the people that are onboarding on. I think it's just been such a great product. So many people have signed up that they were not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be listing all day, and I'm going to be forcing myself to do at least a few posts on Instagram.
You better.
On my store Instagram,
because I'm here.
Because I want to sell some stuff. So yeah, so she'll be probably yelling at me from downstairs.
Part of my work
Did you do the Instagram yet?
Are you on the Instagram, Katie?
And I just did like a gigantic bulk buy of vintage streetwear, and so that's probably not going to come. I'm probably not going to get it till the beginning of next week. But I know, so I need to like buckle down, get everything listed that I have, so that when that comes in, I can immediately process it, take pictures, and start listing it as well.
So Gypsy Jean, your question there is, could you share with us the process of rebranding? I am about to start rebranding myself. So the process for me is right now I am finding a creator and creating a brand new logo in order to rebrand. I've already changed my name. We had a show a few shows back that told you why I changed my name for my store. And I'm actually not doing anything right now. I have a little logo that Rachel created for me in like 5 seconds for me to put a little thing up there as a placeholder. It's not something either one of us like love. It's just there. It's a pink peacock.
You needed something in a pinch.
Yep, and that was it. She was there in a pinch.
I was there
exactly.
in a pinch.
So it's just a placeholder. So I'm not branding myself at all right now. I'm really not advertising or marketing myself, because it's not where I want it to be. So I don't want to create any confusion. So I've kind of just left it alone. I did change my names. I didn't even do an official announcement of changing the names because of that. I don't want to do that until I can roll it out as a brand new brand in general.
As you should.
So that's kind of, I kind of changed it, quietly and left it on the down low. When people asked, I of course answered questions. But once I get my my logo and everything where I want it to be, I will do an official relaunch of my branding in some way with a little fanfare.
Is there going to be some sort of parade?
There may be a parade.
Balloons and streamers.
Yes.
And pink cocktails. I'm excited.
Anyway, all right. We're going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
So Victoria asked a real question. Let me just ask there for 1 second.
Okay.
When will we be talking about the promoted listings update? We won't be talking about it Sunday. Sunday is already a 90-minute show where we do our haul and our numbers and everything. We don't talk about business stuff outside of that, because I do think that's a topic that deserves its own conversation. I think once we watch the eBay for Business information on it today, we'll have a better idea of what that actually means, because I do think so many things in that announcement were very vague.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about it next week's Wednesday show.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it.
We'll
next
go over
Wednesday.
like the whole update. You know, we could have done that today because we knew that this was going to be coming out. But I think it's better to have a little bit of time to kind of sit with it and hear some of the feedback from eBay, maybe some clarification, and then we can actually have a big discussion about it next week. Anyway, all right, I'm shutting it down. Oh, drag queens.
Just from a parade with drag queens.
Anyway, we gotta go. We got work to do. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. Make sure you do check out the eBay for Business live show at 3:00 today Pacific time if you do want to hear more information about the seller update. If you want to ask questions. Otherwise, get to work. Okay? Come on.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Me too.
Come on. Bye.
Bye.